All right, guys, welcome back to the bunker. We are here with my friend John, who's a history expert, teaches history, and we're getting ready to start a full game, round one, and we're kind of getting going. He's getting ready to make his moves into Germany. We're about to start rolling, so we'll catch up with you at the end of round one. Just finished the first round here with my buddy John. This is how Europe looks. He took out all of France in one move, used a lot of his Air Force for that, and that left some of the British Navy alone. And so Britain counterattacked with its Navy and took out the rest of the German Navy, with the exception of those two subs. He did not do Operation Barbarossa. He, like I said, he used his Air Force primarily to take out all of France and Normandy and southern France. The British, UK, did do the Taranto raid here, and then of course came over here, established or took over Iraq, and positioning navies in different spots here, reinforced down here. As you can see, Italy, there's been a naval battle going on in the Mediterranean, so Taranto happened, and then they countered and took out an aircraft carrier that was left damaged. Italy did, and then they did an amphibious landing in here and took Algeria, and then the French took out the two pieces. I think there was a cruiser and a transport left here. So France took out that. And so that's kind of what's going on here. UK has pulled back to Egypt to reinforce there. We brought over a fighter and a tactical bomber over here from India to assist in this battle, and then it landed there. And that's over there. Now in the Pacific, Japan, the Soviets reinforced up here. Japan has, in one turn, taken all of this and cut the Burma Road. And he's positioned his navy. My friend John is playing the Axis. He positioned his navy in other areas here and purchased, I think, some more men, tank, mechanized infantry, transport there. The Americans have almost abandoned the Philippines. Anzac came up here and took some points from Java. The American Navy has come down here to 54. And you can see what's going over here in the east, or the west, actually. The Americans purchased the two carriers and a battleship and has placed them over here, the fighters, and then this Navy here was originally in western United States and has come up here through the Panama Canal. So this is where we stand after one round. We'll see what happens after this. Okay, here we are, round three at the bunker in Atlanta with my friend John, and we're about to start round three, and here's what we look like. U.S. is got a conglomerate over here, ready to do something. We have a possible Operation Sea Lion about to happen. We've got, what, how many transports you have there, John? 5? 1, 2, 3, 5 transports?
No, I have 6.
6 transports?
6, yeah. 6 transports.
6, oh yeah, he has 6 transports. Of course, Germany controls all of Europe. They started Barbarossa last round rather. The Soviets counterpunched and took back here as well as there. They tried to take this back but had to retreat. They didn't have enough. The Italians have
just about wiped out.
Have taken over down here. The Italians made a mistake and dropped 2 transport in this sea zone and virtually defenseless other than that one scrambling fighter. So we'll see what happens there. In Africa, the UK has taken over almost all of Africa except for Algeria and Tunisia. And kind of got the Middle Earth thing going here. UK industrial complex, kind of the general hand grenade thing. Japan has attacked the Soviet Union, wiped out those forces. They have taken virtually all of China, with the exception of here. They have not yet declared war on UK or Anzac. However, at the end of the third round, America did declare war on all the Axis right before their collect income phase. So, as it stands, Japan is at war with the Allies in the Pacific, and Anzac has taken 1, 2, 3, 8, 9, 10, 11 IPCs from the Money Islands down here, and they have sent some planes to help defend Calcutta over the last couple rounds. And over here you see what's going on in the Pacific. Looking kind of bare over here in the western US. We'll see what Japan does. So on to round 4. Okay, we have finished round 4. We're getting ready to start round 5. And the Americans are at war with the Axis, of course. They've already moved everything into Gibraltar here. London has still not fallen. We still have about 6 transports, I think, in Germany. Germany controls all of Europe with the exception of the Soviets counterattacked. What is this right here? What is that?
Warsaw.
Poland, yeah. They counterattacked Poland. And the Italians kind of own all down in here. The British Navy is in the Med. And the Brits in Africa control everything in Africa except for these 2 countries. They whittled this down and then they lost a tank and didn't have enough. They didn't want to lose fighters, so they lost their tank and they weren't caring about gaining a buck. We have shuck going on between South Africa and our industrial complex up here. Britain is reinforcing here in the Middle East. Soviets are holding firm in the West. However, if you look over in the Pacific, you see that Japan is starting to gain some ground in the Soviet Union. All of China has fallen. War is totally full-blown between all nations now. There were 4 Air Force here, and Britain attacked along with their Air Force, took out the Air Force, lost all their guys, and brought their Air Force back. Anzac has reinforced India with 3 fighters. They have taken the Money Islands, and on this last non-combat move, they have brought transports up and reinforced the Philippines. They have bought 2 subs and a destroyer. And then you see what's going over here in the Pacific. The Americans have a battleship and then 4 fleets of subs and destroyers. Round 5. Germany is up. All right, beginning of the 5th round. Here we go. Operation Sea Lion is about to happen. This is what he's coming in with. And here's what I'm defending with. I am the Allies. John is the Axis. Does he have enough? We'll find out. Stay tuned. All right, first round of battle on Sea Lion. That's what Germany is left with. And this is what UK is left with. We'll find out. Stay tuned. All right, after the 3rd round of battle, Operation Sea Lion attempt number 1 has failed. Germany retreated after losing all of its land forces. All of its Air Force landed in Belgium. And they still have 6 transports, 2 battleships, and a cruiser. And you see what UK is left with. So having 4 fighters definitely helps in the defense. All right, end of round 5. Getting ready to start round 6. Here's what we have going on. The Americans were here on Gibraltar and originally intending to do a Spanish beachhead, but they noticed that northern Italy left themselves wide open. So the Americans came in and attacked northern Italy. And all of Africa is essentially the British, only they just have to take Algeria now. And of course the Americans are building up to another little amphibious thing there. We see on the Eastern Front here, there's been a little battle back and forth. The Italians tried to whittle that down and they retreated. And in the East, we have the Japanese starting to put pressure on Russia, so the Soviets are starting to put some defensive blockers out here. The Brits have been using their industrial complex to kind of come up into Russia to help support the Soviets in their defense of their eastern front. Japan is, I guess, gathering to maybe defend Calcutta. Calcutta is pretty reinforced. And the Philippines have fell. The Philippines have fallen. Bad English, I apologize. The Philippines have fallen.
That's why you're not an English teacher.
Yeah, that's exactly why not. And so they now control the Philippines. And Anzac is starting to shore up some defense here. And the submarine and destroyer patrols have come out here to put blockers and keep Honolulu from falling. So here we are at the end of round 5, getting ready to start round 6. All right, here we are, end of round 6. A lot has happened. First of all, Germany has successfully, on the second attempt, taken London, a successful sea line attempt. America was down here and opted not to go here, perhaps regrettably, to reinforce them and try to take out their navy. Instead, they saw an opportunity, as you saw, they came and took northern Italy. And from there, they've come and taken southern France and western Germany. So Germany is kind of cut in half here, although they still own London. America has reinforced them down here to Gibraltar with some more troops. Africa is all allied now. France just stepped in and took the last thing back from Algeria, back from Italy. And by the way, America did liberate, so they got money for that, and 12 IPCs worth of troops right there, plus France collected money for the first time in the game. Over here, UK was not able to purchase anything, so they had to use their pieces wisely, and they consolidated some stuff in here. And then over here, they decided to help out the Soviets. They came into here. They attacked these 3 zones, actually. Oh, I'm sorry, that one, and this one. They were successful in taking this one. Here, they knocked out pieces and a couple of Air Force. The Air Force that they used from India, and the air base went 1, 2, 3, 4, attacked and landed here, reinforced up from here. Of course, 3 pieces that were here were shucked up to the Middle East. And then UK Pacific was able to purchase some pieces and put here. So that's kind of what UK has done in the Far East. And Japan is lurking on the door of Russia a little bit, back door, but they've lost some air force thanks to the British. They have come down here and taken Java, and as you can see, they're amassing to do something either towards Australia or towards Hawaii. The U.S. saw an opportunity to sneak in behind here and knock out a transport and a destroyer to keep those guys on the island, and they put out blockers to protect Hawaii, and of course placed some aircraft carriers and fighters there for the defense of the homeland. So ending round 6, round 7, we'll see what happens. It's getting interesting. Alright guys, round 7 starting off. Just to let you know, Germany has taken back West Germany from the Americans, as well as Paris. So they kind of took these both, but they had to empty London in order to make that happen. But look what we have going on here. The Soviets, these bombers, this is a purchase. Don't look at that. The Soviets are attacking Berlin. Stay tuned to see the result. Round 1 battle for Berlin complete. He had 13 tanks. Now he's down to 5 tanks and 3 aircraft. Round 2 battle. Round 2 battle complete. All Germany has left is 2 fighters. On to round 3 battle for Berlin. Looks like the Ruskies are going to take it. After the 3rd round of battle, the Soviets have taken over Berlin. And this is what Europe looks like after the 3rd round of battle for Berlin in the 7th round of play. Alright guys, welcome back. We are at the end of round 7. My friend had to leave. It's getting late, so we were getting ready to start round 8, but he kind of called the game, and this is where we're at the end of round 7. Germany still owns London, however, they have very few pieces on there. 3 pieces? So they had to kind of empty London to take West Germany back. So they're kind of down there, and they have no money to buy anything because the Soviets are still in Berlin. So with the American Navy and forces building here, London will be liberated, I'm sure, in the next turn. Italy managed to take back northern Italy from the Americans. They only had a couple pieces left in there because the Americans were more concerned about this. And Russia bought 4 bombers on its last turn. They were getting ready to strategically bomb Germany, but instead Germany was weak enough to where they went ahead and attacked and took Berlin, so they didn't need to strategically bomb there. America over here is kind of empty, and the reason being, which you'll see in a minute, is the fact that the Japanese were posing a pretty big threat over here with their navy. So we had to spend some resources over here matching capital ships to capital ships. So, and then of course the Japanese were making a move on Australia. So Australia just bought a bunch of men and plopped there. And interesting here in down here in southern China is the British started to fan out from here and to liberate some of China, taking out several airplanes who were either undefended or didn't have any land units to help defend with them, or they were just so overwhelmed with the British forces that were coming that they lost fighters. So Japan lost a lot of their air force in the last turn, with the exception of the air force that is still on the carriers. So I think they start with what, 20-something planes, if I'm not mistaken, but now they're down to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 1, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So 10 fighters, 10 of their aircraft, including their 2 strategic bombers, have been taken off the board. And UK has not been able to purchase anything over on this side of the board, of course, because they don't have any money. But they've been flying all their Air Force over here since America has kind of taken, and Russia has kind of taken control of Europe for the most part, and Africa. So this is where we stand. This is, now we played kind of out of box. We don't have I don't have Grasshopper's token cards yet, his Delta deck. So we weren't really playing tokens. Now, had we been playing tokens, of course, we probably would have played a little differently. Although I'm not familiar with the token system that well, but if we just count up tokens here, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think the Philippines is a token, and correct me if I'm wrong. But if that's the case, that would have been 1 token. 2 tokens. The second token would have been Germany taking, Operation Sea Lion. That would have been 2 tokens. But then I think the Americans would have gotten a token for liberating France, if I'm not mistaken. And then a token for taking Berlin, that's 2. A token for the British, I think, for taking all of Africa, that would be 3. So I don't know if I'm missing any tokens here. If you guys see something that maybe I'm missing. Still have all the capital ships, so that's not 1. So I think it would have ended 3-2 in the favor of the Allies, if I'm not mistaken. But I'll go back and check Grasshopper's token system. I might have to recount things up to see what it would have been if we had been playing the token system. But nonetheless, very excited. This is actually my friend John. It's only the 2nd time he's played, and we played, I think, 7 rounds. Like I said, it took a while, but the last time I played my friend John, we only did like maybe a round and a half as a practice session. So he did a lot of things well. Of course, made some mistakes, but so did I. One of the biggest mistakes that I made, I don't know if it was a mistake, it was more of a decision, and perhaps the wrong decision, was once I got to Spain with the American Navy and landing forces, or Gibraltar rather, I planned on doing the Spanish beachhead and coming up through here. But at that point, I noticed that northern Africa, or northern Italy rather, was left bare, like basically like three pieces. totally did not see that there was a naval base here. And so rather than do my original Spanish beachhead, I decided to go straight for northern Africa, or sorry, northern Italy, and that allowed me to go into Germany and France right away. Of course, I lost it eventually, but it forced him to constantly have to come back and to fight, as opposed to going this way or reinforcing that way. So I kind of got the same result, even though Europe has not had been able to spend money in the last 2, maybe 3 rounds. So what I probably should have done, and there's no way UK would have ever fallen, was from here, before Sea Lion happened, I should have taken my transports and gone 1, 2, dropped off my 14 to 16 pieces in there, and then have my carriers and fighters and my battleships and cruisers go into Sea Zone 110 and take care of his navy. And he would have had no navy, and there's no way he could have done Sea Lion. So that was perhaps a mistake on my part, or maybe a wrong decision. But I knew that that was an option, but I figured that I could get to here before he could get to there, and I miscalculated. But nonetheless, I think it still worked out in favor of the Allies. Now, if I was playing against a more advanced player, that probably would have bit me in the rear end. But anyways, hope you guys enjoy. Like I said, you know, we're still learning, and it was exciting to put some things into practice, like the whole Middle Earth strategy here worked really well for me. So thank you, Grasshopper. I'm sorry, thank you, General Hand Grenade. And then I did try this whole Spanish beachhead as well. So thanks for that video, young Grasshopper. And in doing so, I knew that Grasshopper talked about, if I'm going to go into Spain, then the UK has to make sure to shore up right here in the Middle East to thwart any type of Axis advance into Turkey. So that never happened, so I was able to move my forces out here towards India. But try some different things. Like I said, made some mistakes along the way, but overall, very, very fun, very exciting game. So, and my friend John really enjoyed it. So, hope you enjoy, and we'll see you next time, guys.